What's good, YouTube? Flash Speaks back for another video. Lunchtime, man. We're going to take this a little bit early. Got some things to talk about. First off, man, shout out to Showtime Sports On Point. They had another banger yesterday on his live. Shout out to HD. Welcome to HD to TV who came on. They had a hell of a show. Shout out to him, all the brothers that were through. Those who I don't remember their names, who spoke on the W and the Chicago Sky and Indiana Fever, the Aces. The thing about this show is real good. He kind of covers everybody, man. Very fair. So shout out to him. Y'all get a chance, man, go out there, man, and if you're not subscribed to Welcome to HD to TV, he has an excellent dissertation that he did earlier today, talking about some of the realities and things that I see that's going on. And it's very important to get these perspectives out there, man, because right now, what's happening right now is you got the media who has been given all of this money, making their push right now. The Fever are looking good. Fever actually beat the most significant team that I've seen them beat, especially in the manner in which they did it. To have an impressive victory over the Seattle like that, Storm, is impressive to them. But what they do is they make it more than what it really is. There's teams all over the place that do these things. If you look at the Chicago Sky prior to the break beating the Aces, that is a bigger story than the Fever beating. I'm going to give you an example. Okay. So to end off, before the Olympic break, let's just look at this here. The Fever go out there and play the Dallas Wings, who have a great player in Enrique, but are really the last place team in the league. So they were really the worst team. They have the worst defense in the league, so on. Caitlin Clark goes out there and puts up these impressive numbers, okay, against this particular team. Kelsey Mitchell plays well as well. Aaliyah Boston doesn't because she got in early foul trouble, okay? They lose that particular game, but all that's talked about is, record-setting performance, this and that. Nobody gives a shit they won or lost or anything. It's just record-setting numbers to Caitlin Clark, okay? Then on the other hand, the Chicago Sky go out there and beat the defending champion Aces. And that's hardly even mentioned. The only thing that's mentioned is what Caitlin Clark does. And this causes many people, like myself, to not even want to cover Caitlin Clark at all. Even when she does something good, I don't want to cover it because my coverage is going to be different than the coverage a lot of them Caitlin Clark fans want to hear. My coverage is going to be real coverage. It's going to be the real truth. I'm going to tell everything. Like one of my last videos where I gave Caitlin Clark a lot of respect and everything. But as I pointed out certain things that I see that are going to be problematic in the future. And they don't like that. They'll ignore all the good things I said and just focus in on one thing that I said that pointed out a factual flaw in her game. And for them, I'm hating just because of that. So but I understand in this business, you can't please everybody. There's even some Angel Reese fans that I think didn't like some things I said about the last game. Even though I'm a fan of Angel Reese's and I'm a fan of the Chicago Skies, but, I guess people just want to hear what they want to hear. So, some people are fickle, man, and that's just the way that it is. And I'm sorry, I can't provide that. I'm going to call it the way I see it, and that's just that. So my coverage is going to be different from the traditional media. Traditional media, man, they just have a whole number of things. They got people upstairs that are influenced by deals that they have with different companies, different conglomerates, different organizations who are telling them that, you have to include this X, Y, and Z. and you can't deal with this, X, Y, and Z. And they have their job to do, I get it. But you got to understand, when I speak, it's not going to include that stuff. It's going to be my own thing based on my own research and my own understanding. And I'm hoping that when people come here, that's what they're looking for. My authentic opinion. You don't have to agree with it all the time. And I venture that you will not agree with it all the time. Just like there's a lot of people I mess with. Whether it's Welcome to HD, whether it's Showtime, whether it's Cess Talk Sports, Quita Love Sports. Everybody has their opinion and their takes. I don't agree with all of their takes all the time, but I don't think I have to. Who am I to where I'm going to judge you based on whether or not you agree with me or not? I'm not going to make myself the center of the universe. I'm going to actually listen to what the person said. Does the person actually back what they're saying with facts? Does it at least make sense? Is it at least a reasonable take? Is it a take that's more factual than mine? Maybe I should alter the way I'm looking at it. See, I don't mind doing all that kind of stuff. What I can't deal with is the type of person that just thinks that only likes you if you agree with them, and they don't mess with you if you don't agree with them in every single point. And sometimes people don't even allow you to get your whole damn thing out. Sometimes, man, we're on edge. The beginning of the video, I'm starting out a certain way to end somewhere. Sometimes they won't even get through the whole video. They just moving on because they don't like the way you started out. You don't even give you a chance to get it all out, man. But, it's all good. It's all good. But one of the reasons, man, that I can't deal with the Caitlin Clark thing is because I'm always going to be seen as a person that's trying to bust somebody's bubble or just trying to lie, or I'm just not trying to lie, but trying to hate. But the thing y'all not understanding is, I'm really about basketball, about the rules of the game, all of that. But I also understand a lot of the BS that surrounds the game and that happens during the inner workings of the game as well. There's a lot of integrity that's been violated. There's a lot of that going on. There's a lot of interest, special interest, when it comes to just making money and revenue, which I understand. But when I give a take, I'm going to include all of that because all of that is part of like the data that I have. So like, for example, you might be impressed by, we're going to talk about Caitlin Clark real quick. I'm going to give you an example why I don't talk about her as much. You might be impressed by the fact that she went out there, scored what was it, 20 something, right? Just 20-something points, 13 assists, and all of that kind of stuff. Like Shannon Sharp, for example. Hey, she is cooking y'all, and this and that. I mean, yeah, the Fever were winning the game, and they actually won the game, and sure, there's some frustration on the part of the defense that's going to happen when that happens. But, like, every 23 points ain't the same to me. Like, just because she scored 23 and then say Enrique scored 23, that don't make those two players equal to me. I'm going to give you an example. We're going to break down Caitlin Clark's game. In transition, she's a extremely dangerous player, and you better take away her transition buckets, those long outlet passes, all those different things. You better guard that stuff. That she's dangerous. She's legit in transition. In the half-court offense, however, especially in particular, in situations where she's trying to get her own bucket, she rarely gets her own bucket within the rules of the game of basketball. And I'm sorry, I don't put any player beyond the game of basketball, and I'm going to bring that up. Caitlin Clark, far too often right now, when she's dribbling with the right hand, she's using the left arm to push off. She's pushing off the opponent. I pointed this out in the game that I was watching live against the Fever, when she was pushing off Kalia Copper. Right, in the last game, I can't get into how many times she's pushing off on Jewel Lloyd, how many times she's pushing off on Horston, how many times she's pushing off on Skylar, right? Pushing off constantly to get her own shot. What I'm saying is I'm never going to rank her with another player who doesn't have to push off to get their own shot. And I have to assume, okay, maybe she lacks the speed or she lacks the bag. Like, that's an honest assessment. Now, I get it. The refs didn't call it. It still came up with points or whatever. But me as a basketball person, I still see what I'm seeing. I'm going to give my analysis based off of my understanding. And the other thing that I understand, this is the thing. She has to get it out of her game because this is what's going to happen. She's going to do it here, going to get comfortable. Then eventually you get to the playoffs or you get to a big game that you're going to need. And you're going to run into an official that is not going to let you get away with it, and that's going to call it. And then she's going to be jammed up. I've seen it happen too many times to players. That what they're doing in the regular season, they might not allow in the playoffs. Now, if she has the type of push where, it's coming from way up top, and they're telling all officials to allow Caitlin Clark to push off, okay, then what are we going to do on the opposite side? What happens when Jewell Loyd starts to push off? What happens when Skylar starts to push off? Kahleah Copper starts to push off? What happens when the people she stick pushes off on her? What are you going to do then? What are you going to do then? Are you going to call a foul on her? Or are you going to allow her to just guard without being pushed, whereas everybody else has to get pushed by her? See, these are the problems. And this is what I don't want to see. I want them to force Caitlin Clark to take that shit out of her game. Just like the same thing with Angel Reese. Angel needs to, on her layups and on her low post scoring, she has to start develop a higher release point. The reason Jonquel Jones was able to get a lot of blocks, the reason A'ja Wilson was able to block her shot, the reason why any of those players who are blocking a shot are able to do it, one of the problems is she has a low release point. They're looking at film. So I need her to get that out of her game in the same way. But most Reese fans can understand that. They can be real and be like, all right, I see what you're saying. Now, you got some Reese fans that are a little fanatical, that have the same mindset as Caitlin Clark fans, but I think they're less in number. But most can look at the flaws of the player and be like, yeah, you're right. Caitlin Clark fans, they don't need my damn breakdown, because my breakdown is going to be a real breakdown. Right? I want to talk about the shit she need to get out of her game, because I can foresee in the future it's going to be a problem. I said that. Nah, man, you just hating this, and all right, well, you just want to think I'm a hater. Don't come to my fucking channel then. Like, you don't have to come to my channel. You don't have to acknowledge my opinion at all about anything. But when it does fall, and I point it out to you, that's just going to be what it's going to be. Right? I'm just going to be that guy to tell you, see, I've been told you that. I've been told you that, and if I really feel like being an asshole, I'll make fun of it. And I'll come on here and just laugh for 2 minutes straight. I don't really care. It all depends on how I'm feeling that day. You know what I mean? But on to important stuff, man. Chicago Sky got a game with the Connecticut Sun coming up, and that's going to be a serious game. You know, you got the Marina Mabrey to return to playing against her. And I really want to see, I know people talking about the point guard issues and all of that. That is a problem. It is. But I think the way that can be countered, just Michaela Onyenwere, like, I think she just needs to play better. I really do. One of the problems is she's not hitting her three-point shot. And I know she can make it. She's just not hitting the shots right now. I think she needs to see a few shots go down. And then I believe her offense will come. Because the girl actually has a lot that she can add offensively. She really does. It just has to all come together. You know, she's in a new spot, you know, a starter, and, you know, all of that kind of stuff. I think that, and then Kennedy Carter, hopefully all of you people telling me that Kennedy was just sick and that's all it is. And if Kennedy can get back to her form, Michaela can, like, just start playing better. I think Chicago still have a chance, you know, to hold on to that 8th seed or whatever. They got to hold off the Dream, though. They got to hold off the Atlanta Dream. Atlanta Dream got a couple of games coming up. They got a game against the Fever coming up soon. On that situation, damn, I know you never want to root for the Fever, but you kind of hope the Fever win that one, because you need Atlanta to lose every game, you know. It's one of the surging teams, you know. Connecticut is tough, man. But I think Chicago, put it this way, they'll fare better against Connecticut than the Fever do. Because their styles are more similar. You know, they deal with the bigs. Their bigs are their best players, you know. And And they have the size, the tenacity, the defensive mindset to beat a Connecticut. But Connecticut is just, man, they're much more in sync as a team. That's the problem with Chicago right now. And it's good. I don't know if it's more helpful that they have these days off before they face them, or if it's better for them to go straight to another game. It could go either way, But hopefully they saw some weaknesses. I'm sure Spoon saw some weaknesses, and they're working on those now. So that's pretty much what I got for right now. Like I know saying I'm going to do this forever, but I got it coming. I got some stuff coming. I got my all-time, or not all-time, but my W team, my all-W team, starters and backups coming. I got my rookie team coming. Going to announce that. And also got a lot of football stuff coming. I will be at the Eagles this preseason game this weekend against the Minnesota Vikings. I will be there, going live at the Eagles, from the Eagles game. Just to show, how we get around and we in the building. You know what I mean? And can't wait for football to start. So I'll get with y'all, man, later. Peace out.